Let me tell you something. I never thought I'd find myself rooting for a maid in a house like the Smiths, but that's how it starts, you know? Not with some big announcement or dramatic thunderclap, but with a girl who slips through the side gate of a mansion, clutching a threadbare bag and wearing shoes that have seen more miles than anyone in that house would ever bother to count. Her name was Happiness, but I'll be honest, she looked like she'd been living with a whole lot more weight than that name could carry still. She kept her head down, her eyes quiet and patient, and she stepped right into the whirlwind that is the Smith estate like it was the only choice she had left. Victoria Smith, perched high above on her morning balcony with her fancy tea, saw her first. "That must be the new maid," she muttered, barely hiding her disapproval. "Looks too gentle for this place. And, that kind of judgment, yeah, it trickles down." The head maid handed Happiness a uniform, tossed a room, key her way, and made it clear. No mistakes. No small talk. No snooping. That was the welcome. Upstairs, Joshua Smith the heir, the one the newspapers always called a genius, was too lost in spreadsheets and conference calls to care about any of this. But Victoria, she noticed everything, and she made sure Joshua knew there was a fragile-looking girl from the countryside working under their roof. "Watch her," she said, slicing into her dinner. "Her kind, they're always trouble." Joshua barely glanced up. If she does her job, what's it matter? But Victoria, she just smirked, the way people do when they think they know everything about everyone. Happiness unpacked in silence that night. She didn't come here just to survive. She was trying to start over. She kept a picture hidden deep in her bag, some memory she could never quite let go of, and exhaled like it was the last real breath she'd get for a while. Days at the estate fell into a rhythm. But one Thursday, Joshua was drifting through the halls when he heard humming low and sweet coming from the kitchen wing. Without thinking, he followed it and found Happiness standing on a chair, cleaning the chandelier. She stopped humming the second she noticed him, apologized quick, and gave a nervous little smile that hit him harder than he expected. That's the thing about memories, they sneak up on you, even when you're just trying to get to your next meeting. That night, he kept seeing her face, her quiet way, the warmth in her eyes. Why did she seem so familiar? He rubbed his temples and muttered, "Why do I know you?" But the answer stayed just out of reach. But in the mansion, nothing ever stays hidden. One morning, Happiness was adjusting a vase when her necklace slipped out an old silver chain with a crescent moon charm. Joshua saw it and froze. That necklace, it was exactly like the one he'd given Joy, his childhood best friend, the one who died all those years ago. The charm even had the dent from when they'd been kids running around the river. He couldn't shake it, though. Could she possibly have it? Later, as the house settled into its usual hush, Joshua dug out an old notebook from his grandfather's study relic full of faded memories, sketches, and letters. There was a childish drawing of that exact necklace. He'd buried it with Joy, or at least that's what he'd been told. But now it was hanging around the neck of the new maid. Victoria and Harold, Joshua's parents, had always hated sentimentality. Harold especially believed in power and control, not feelings. Joshua started to wonder, had he really lost Joy to illness, or had someone taken her from him? Meanwhile, Happiness would sit by her little window at night, clutching the necklace, and whisper, "Why does this feel like more than just a trinket?" She couldn't remember much from her childhood. Her mother always said the necklace was her only inheritance. But lately, that answer wasn't enough. Everything boiled over when Agnes, the head maid, told Joshua that Happiness had been seen with a missing ring from the guest suite. The accusation fell off, but protocol demanded action. Joshua opened a dismissal letter but couldn't bring himself to sign it. Instead, he called Happiness in and, after some gentle probing, asked her for the necklace. He studied it, hands trembling. "Where did you get this?" he asked, barely trusting his own voice. "My mother gave it to me," she replied, confusion and fear mixing in her eyes. That's when everything shifted. Joshua pressed for details. She remembered only that her family had left a town called Ukai in a hurry. Joshua recognized the name immediately as childhood home. It wasn't coincidence anymore. He let her go, but the doubt gnawed at him. Joshua drove back to Ukai the next day. He talked to old women who remembered Joy's sudden illness and her family's disappearance. At the village graveyard, he found her headstone, but the grave felt wrong, untouched. The caretaker confirmed what he feared. Sometimes, families were paid to disappear. The girl buried there, she might never have been buried at all. Agnes, meanwhile, was stirring trouble. She hated happiness, hated how her quiet presence rattled the hierarchy of the house. With Victoria listening, Agnes framed happiness for theft this time, earrings for Victoria's private collection. The staff searched her room, and the earrings appeared in her drawer. "They're not mine," Happiness pleaded, but suspicion suffocated the truth. Victoria made it clear, "This house runs on trust, and yours is gone." But Harold noticed the necklace, and when Joshua revealed the engraving, J and J, Forever Summer, the truth hit the whole family like a freight train. That necklace belonged to Joy, and maybe, just maybe, so did Happiness's true name. Alone in his study, Joshua finally pieced together what his parents had done, a cold-blooded arrangement to erase a child from their son's life, money exchanged for silence, a future rebuilt on loss. He confronted his father, who refused to apologize. "You would have thrown your life away on a girl with nothing," Harold sneered. "She was everything," Joshua shot back. Happiness, for her part, found proof in a hidden photograph of two children under a mango tree, one of them unmistakably her, necklace and all, grinning beside a young Joshua. The memories came back in slow waves. She wasn't just happiness. She was joy. The storm finally broke when Happiness packed her things, ready to leave the house for good. Joshua stopped her at the door. "Don't leave because they want you gone. Leave when you're ready for you." She hesitated, her heart caught between pain and possibility, and set her bag down, not unpacking, but not quite leaving either. Victoria called her to the garden, trying one last time to push her away, but Happiness Joy stood her ground. "Maybe it's time I stopped hiding," she said. She'd lost so much, but she wasn't going to lose herself again. Joshua made her a promise. "No more lies, no more shadows. I want you to stay, not as a maid, not as a memory, but as you are right now," he told her. He stepped back from the company, gave up his legacy, just to breathe for once in his life. He let the truth come out, even if it cost him everything his parents valued. Weeks passed. Happiness moved into the East Wing as a guest, spending her mornings journaling, her afternoons wandering the gardens, rediscovering herself. Joshua joined her sometimes, no expectations, just quiet conversations about who they were, what they'd lost, and what they could become. One day, under the mango tree where it all began, she found a stone he'd carved as a boy, JJ. She clutched it, tears streaming down her face. That night, she handed it to Joshua, and together, they remembered the laughter and the promise they'd made as children. No romance yet, just truth and peace, a foundation for whatever would come next. Victoria and Harold watched from afar as their son reclaimed his life. Agnes, exposed, left in silence. The house itself seemed to exhale, its long shadows chased away by honesty at last. And so, Happiness Joy wrote the next part of her story for herself. "I'm not who they said I was, and I'm not who they try to make me forget," she wrote. "I'm becoming. And though there's no romance yet, there is peace. There is truth. There is Joshua, no longer just the boy from the tree, but the man who gave me back my name without asking for my heart." You know, sometimes the most satisfying ending is no ending at all, just a beginning written in your own handwriting, with hope instead of fear. So, tell me, would you have done in their shoes? Is it ever right to bury the truth for a better future? Or does justice always deserve its day in the sun? Drop your thoughts below. Leave a like if this story struck a chord. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next chapter. And hey, share this story with someone who needs to remember that even after the worst betrayals, you can still write your own happy ending.